I read every parenting book, took classes, followed all the expert advice, but my relationship with my kids was still strained and exhausting. Then a child psychologist asked me one question that stopped me in my tracks. She said, "How much time do you spend just being with your children without teaching, correcting, or directing them?" I had no answer because the truth was that it rarely was. I was constantly in parent mode, managing behavior, teaching lessons, and rushing from one thing to the next. The skill I was completely missing is the one that matters most, and research shows it's the foundation that everything else in parenting builds on. Once I finally understood this and made it a daily practice, my kids transformed. And so did I. The connection we've been missing suddenly clicked into place. If you feel like you're doing everything right, but something still feels off in your relationship with your kids, hit that like button and subscribe because this overlooked skill will change absolutely everything about your parenting experience. Here's the skill that most of us are missing, and it's so simple it sounds almost ridiculous when you first hear it. The number one parenting skill is presence. Not physical presence, we're with our kids all the time. I'm talking about mental and emotional presence. Being fully there, fully engaged, fully attentive without agenda or distraction. No phone, no mental to-do list running in the background, no thinking about what comes next. Just being present with your child in the moment, seeing them, hearing them, connecting with them for who they are right now. The reason this skill is so overlooked is that our culture tells us good parenting is about what we do. Teaching, disciplining, enriching, protecting, managing. We think we're supposed to be constantly active and productive in our parenting. But research on child development and attachment shows something completely different. What matters most to children isn't all the things we do for them or teach them. What matters most is feeling genuinely seen, heard, and valued by their parents. And that only happens through real presence. My son would come home from school every day and start telling me about his day while I was making dinner, checking my phone, and thinking about bedtime routines. I'd give him surface-level responses like, "Oh, really? That's nice, uh-huh." I thought I was listening because I was physically there and responding. But one day he stopped mid-sentence and said, "You're not really listening, are you, Mom?" He was 7 years old and he could tell I wasn't truly present. That moment got in me because I realized I'd been going through the motions of parenting without actually connecting. The research on this is powerful. Studies on parent-child attachment show that children who experience consistent presence from their parents, meaning times when the parent is fully tuned in and responsive, develop secure attachment. And secure attachment is the foundation for everything. It predicts emotional regulation, social skills, academic success, mental health, healthy relationships in adulthood, all of it. But here's what most people miss. Secure attachment isn't built through grand gestures or being perfect. It's built through thousands of small moments of real presence and attunement. After that conversation with my son, I started practicing what I call presence pockets throughout the day. These are dedicated chunks of time, sometimes just 10 or 15 minutes, where I'm completely present with my kids. Phone away, mind cleared, full attention on them. During breakfast, I stopped rushing and multitasking. I sat with them, made eye contact, asked questions, and actually listened to the answers. After school, I stopped making dinner during their talking time. I gave them my full attention for 15 minutes first, then moved to cooking. Before bed, instead of rushing through the routine, I slowed down and was genuinely present during story time. Comment below and be honest with me. Be honest with me. Not just physically there, but mentally and emotionally all in. Here's what started happening when I made presence a priority. My kids opened up more. They shared deeper thoughts, bigger feelings, real struggles they've been holding inside. My relationship with them shifted from feeling like management to feeling like a genuine connection. The behavior issues I've been fighting decreased dramatically because they felt seen and secure. When children feel truly connected to their parents through presence, they're naturally more cooperative, less anxious, and more emotionally regulated. But there's another layer to this that's equally important. Presence isn't just good for your kids, it's essential for you as a parent. When you're constantly in doing mode, multitasking, and thinking ahead, you miss the experience of parenting. You miss the funny things they say, the way they're growing and changing, the joy that exists in simple moments. I realized I was so focused on getting through the day that I wasn't actually experiencing my children. Presence brought me back to why I became a parent in the first place. It helped me fall back in love with parenting. Now, let me address the biggest obstacle to presence that every parent faces. Our phones. I'm not anti-technology, but our phones are presence killers. Research shows that even having a phone visible during an interaction reduces the quality of that interaction. When you're talking to your child while glancing at your phone, their brain registers that they're not important enough for your full attention. That chips away at connection and security. I made a rule for myself. During presence pockets, my phone goes in another room. Not just on silent, actually in another room. At first, this felt impossible. What if someone needs me? What if I miss something important? But here's what I discovered. Nothing is more important than the child in front of me in that moment. The text can wait 15 minutes. The emails can wait. But my child's sense of being valued and secure? That's being built or damaged right now based on whether I'm choosing presence or distraction. The practical skill of presence has 3 parts, and once I understood these, I got so much better at it. First is stopping. You physically stop what you're doing, turn your body toward your child, and give them your attention. Not paying halfway attention while you finish something else. Full stop. Second is seeing and hearing. You make eye contact, you really listen to the words and the feelings behind the words. And you notice their facial expressions and body language. You're taking them in fully. Third is responding. You reflect what you heard, you validate feelings, and you ask follow-up questions that show you care. These 3 things, stop, see, and hear, respond, that's presence in action. Let me give you a concrete example of presence versus autopilot parenting. Your daughter comes to you upset about something that happened with a friend. Autopilot parenting might look like half listening while you're cooking dinner, offering quick advice like just ignore her or tell the teacher and moving on. Presence parenting looks like stopping what you're doing, sitting down at her level, making eye contact and saying, "Tell me what happened. I want to understand." You listen fully, you reflect what you hear, and you validate her feelings even if you think the problem is small. That's presence, and that's what builds connection and security. Here's what I learned about making presence sustainable. You don't have to be present every single moment. That's impossible and would be exhausting. What matters is having consistent pockets of real presence throughout the day. Research suggests that even 15 to 20 minutes of quality, fully present time makes a massive difference. Think of it like deposits in a connection bank. Every moment of presence is a deposit that builds security and trust. I also learned that presence requires self-regulation. When my child is having a meltdown or doing something frustrating, my instinct is to react, correct, or disengage. But presence means staying emotionally regulated myself so I can be fully there for them without my own triggered reactions taking over. This meant I had to work on my own emotional regulation, my own ability to stay calm and present under stress. It's been some of the hardest and most important personal growth work I've done. The transformation in our family over 6 months of prioritizing presence has been remarkable. My kids are more secure, more open, more joyful. They come to me with problems instead of hiding them. And I'm a calmer, more connected, more satisfied parent. The constant underlying anxiety I used to feel about whether I was doing enough has eased because I know I'm doing the thing that matters most. I'm showing up with presence. If this resonates with you and you realize presence is the missing piece in your parenting, please share this video with another parent. So many of us are grinding through the daily tasks of parenting and missing the actual relationship that all those tasks are supposed to support. Drop a comment and tell me when you find it hardest to be present with your kids. Mornings, after school, bedtime, or share a time when you felt really present and connected. Let's learn from each other. And make sure you're subscribed because we're building a community of parents who understand that the relationship is the foundation, and presence is what builds that foundation strong. Thank you for being here, for being willing to slow down and prioritize what truly matters. Your presence is the greatest gift you can give your children, and it costs nothing but your attention and intention.